Hello, my name is Nam, and I'll be the second negative speaker. I'll be actually working on the workability and the disadvantages of the argument. First of all, the workability is to prove that the affirmative plan is not practical. For example, they mentioned how the animal testing is immoral and inhumane. However, they have yet to set the standard as to what is considered inhuman and what is considered to be inhumane and what is considered to be immoral. For them to establish that in a prompt, or to be that their claim is that something is to be inhumane, yet they have not to set a standard for it, shows that their plan itself has not very strong foundation to it. Also, they have not established the credibility of establishing where the laboratory experiments are immoral. They did go into the experiments about the rabbits. However, they have failed to mention varieties of animals that gets tested on and how they benefit the human society. They also mentioned how that for changes to come, it must be groups with opinions. However, PETA, animal defense law organizations, they're very biased towards animals. Therefore, their information and stuff like that must not be taken into consideration. Now, they mentioned that animals are used in experiments are in bad conditions. However, like Michael has said, AWA, the Animal Welfare Act, has been in place since 1966, and it's been stipulated that minimum housing standards for research animals are required for these animals. Example, enclosure sizes, temperatures, access to clean food, waters, and anything else has to be regulated and it must be provided. Not only that, they also went into the fact about how animals don't really have a consent when it comes to doing these kind of experiments. According to medicinal animal experiment, the reason why animals don't have consent is because animals don't really have rights. Animals do not have cognitive ability or moral judgment that humans do. Therefore, since the beginning of time, they've been treated differently than humans. If granted animal rights, if animals had rights just as humans do, all humans will have to become vegetarians and hunting will be illegal. Therefore, there's reasons as to why animals don't have consent and as to why they don't have rights as humans do. Now also, referring to the cruel treatment of animals, animal researchers treat animals actually humanely, not only for the animal reason, but for also the ensure of reliable testing, as they mentioned earlier. According to a journal Nature Genetics, because stressed or crowded animals produce unreliable research methods, many types and prototypes are accessible in content animals in enriched environments. They actually live and they're actually sustained in an environment that is more sustainable and more enriched than the ones that we'll find in the actual wildlife itself. It is the best interest of the researchers not to cut corners or to neglect these welfare issues, because these will only lead to negative results in the research. Also, according to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center and Research Facility, dogs were actually used for to check for insulins for future research are given exercise twice a day, daily, when they can socialize and with their caretakers and with other fellow dogs to make sure that they're mentally strong and physically strong when they come to experiments. Now, using at the disadvantage argument, which is the harmful side effects that were to come in place if the affirmative will be going through with their policy. If animal testing were banned, these problems will rise, such as humans will no longer be able to further their research and medical studies to save lives. According to Chris Abib, director of the University of Texas, of Anderson's Cancer Center's Animal Research Facility, we wouldn't have had a vaccine for hepatitis B without the chimpanzees. And see that the use of chimps is our best hope for finding vaccines for hepatitis C, a disease that kills over 15,000 people a year in the United States. Also, the California Biomedical Research Association has stated that nearly every medical breakthrough since the last century was resulted directly from results from using animals. Just like specific as well, kidney dialysis was discovered by Dr. William Clough in 1943 using monkeys. Whooping cough vaccine was discovered by Kendrick Pearl in 1942 using rabbits. Heart surgery was actually, an open heart surgery was first performed in 1953 by Dr. John Gibson using a dog. And the very first heart transplant, an open heart transplant that saved over 20,000 lives since 1982, was conducted in 1967 by Dr. Christensen Bernard using monkeys. As you can see, there are specific instances where these performances saved lives of humans. So if they were to actually no longer ban animal testing, it would no longer have resulted in such. Also, animals themselves benefit from the results of animal testing. Whenever researchers are able to make a successful test, not only do they have a positive effect on the humans, but also animals as well. And it will be the betterment for the animals once these vaccines and these treatments have been made, that it will be betterment for animals and humans alike. For example, koalas were ravaged actually by epidemics of sexually transmitted disease in Australia that almost led them to extinction. However, due to the testing that we have found through the chimpanzees and the monkeys back in 1982, that STD vaccine and those kind of research actually saved the koalas from almost being extinct to now actually being established and well-flourished in Australia. Thank you.